So I'm from VMware. I want to talk to you about ephemeral Prometheus instances. I want to quickly say a few things about VMware because we typically don't show up for these kind of things, and that's sort of about to change, or it's actively changing. So, we're the market leader in on-prem infrastructure. We now have storage products, networking products, and so we mostly own that space. We're super successful in that space, and have been for the last 20 years, and it's all going really great. We have really good technology, but I assume none of you use us, and for a reason. Um, we decided to acquire Heptio, and hence Joe Beda and Craig McLuckie as founders of Kubernetes, and so we now have a lot of good folks in the team that actually really understand Kubernetes. We've acquired Pivotal and Bitnami as well. Pivotal is still closing, but now we're up to number 2 contributor for Kubernetes, and we're actually going to, with Pivotal, get a little bit higher and get closer to Google. And now we've basically been revamping all our products, creating tons of new Kubernetes-based products, as well as baking Kubernetes into our core products as well, like baking it into vSphere. So now, why are we doing this? We really want to get into cloud native and cloud. We believe that we have a great data path, but we're not appealing to app teams right now. Nobody can really use us who's building modern software, and that's bad, obviously, for business. And so we're embracing open source, and I worked with our team on Prometheus support, and that's hopefully going to come out. But we don't typically come to these events, so I don't even have a template that doesn't have the word confidential in it. I don't know how to remove the word confidential here. We only ever talk confidentially, which is sort of embarrassing. So what is my use case? Basically, we have, and this was something that I worked on almost 10 years ago by now, we have a large-scale CI system long before we used the word CI. But basically for every code change, we have hundreds of test beds that get triggered that all run tests. They run for a few hours typically. They're all ephemeral. They are physical or virtual test beds. We have around 500 servers just for the virtual cloud that we're running on. And there's many different stress and performance runs daily, and they're all concurrent, and we're constantly throwing more servers at the problem to speed things up and run more and more things. And all our distributed team of thousands of engineers are throwing more and more things at this cloud. So we want performance observability, and we want a central repo where we get all the performance data for all these runs that we're doing. And we have tons of homegrown stuff, but turns out that Prometheus is really nice. Turns out that Thanos is really nice, and turns out that whatever we've built is actually worse than Prometheus and Thanos and Grafana, and it would actually be great to use Prometheus. And now that we natively export metrics, we can. So basically, and sorry for drawing this on my iPad and throwing it on the slide. Yeah, I know there are tools, but that's how my brain works, and I only got a small lightning talk, so I figured I would also invest smaller time in my slides. But essentially, we have these deployments, and we're running benchmarks on there, and what I wanted was an ephemeral Prometheus. I didn't want to have one central Prometheus that I constantly need to figure out how to scale. I wanted to just have one and throw it away every time. And so in there I have Prometheus, and I have a new thing that I call the Thanos uploader, which is basically the sidecar hacked with 10 lines of bash script to only run once, upload all the metrics once, and then shut down. And I would really love that to be an actual thing, and I think it's being worked on, or at least discussed. And it uploads to S3, and then we have one stateless viewer that might be running, or somebody goofed up and it's not running, and you start your own local version on your laptop. But basically, with Thanos Query and Thanos Storage, you can just access that. I like this pattern because it's stateless, right? Like there's nothing long running here that I actually need to care and feed. Now, I asked this on the channel on Slack, and people said, "Well, you're stupid. Just use the remote write feature and use a Thanos receiver, and just stick that receiver in front of S3 and run it this way." The thing I don't like is now I'm running a service, and turns out within our own infrastructure, it's not that easy to run a service for all the same reasons that people don't use us for this kind of stuff. But I really don't want to be in the business of running a service. I want to have somebody manage S3, and there's people who already do that, and I don't want to actually add a service for this thing. So I don't like this. So I thought about it a little bit, like how are they actually different? The remote write and the Thanos receiver, they give me one cool feature, which is during the run, I can actually already query what's going on, because the receiver is constantly receiving the metrics, and I can look at them, and I can see that. Similarly, if the testbed in some shape or form crashes and burns, I'm not losing data, right? Because in the uploader case, I accumulate all the data and then I upload it at the end. But there is a certain CPU memory and storage overhead from running this receiver. And more importantly, what I don't like is, again, I need to size this thing. I don't know how much memory to give it, how much CPU to give it, and probably every few months this is going to be wrong. And then now I need to run a scale-out version, maybe, run many of these, put an autoscaler. I don't like this. This is too much work. I'm not an ops guy. I just try to write software and have it monitored. So I don't like it for that reason. The uploader has no dependency. It's S3. I don't care. S3 is going to be up. And I can show an open source version where I do 10 lines of bash script that are horrible. And in this GitHub issue, there's talk about doing this properly and just having a command where I can just call Thanos with the right invocation, and it uploads everything from a directory up to S3, and that would be awesome if somebody were to contribute to that. I don't know enough about the Thanos code base to do it myself, otherwise I would probably pick it up. And that's my short lightning talk. I would appreciate if other people think this is useful and is a good use case to comment on this issue and lend support for the issue. And let me know. I do have a blog post if you think that this is a useful topic. I can also publish that. Again, I don't typically do outward-facing things other than our public conferences, or they're not even public. They don't show up on YouTube. But yeah, so thank you. Any questions or thoughts? Does this make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Do you have any CI jobs that are just alerts against the Ephemeral Prometheus instance? Or CI tests, I should say.
That's an interesting question. So do we actually look at these metrics?
Right, as part of your CI run.
Not as part of the CI run. That's a separate system that would analyze these things and look at them. And aside from the alerting, one of the things we notice is that just the ability to go back, because tons of developers check in, and we do a release once a year or every 6 months, and at some point somebody tests the new thing and says, this behaves differently than the old thing. When did it change? And right, and so being able to go back and actually see how all the metrics were at that time is actually super useful. That's why I want to keep this for multiple years. Even though there's tons of little runs every day, I actually want to keep them. And it's not hard to keep, and with this it's quite easy. And right now we have homegrown things that put stuff on NFS, and it's just not good. Anybody who's a maintainer, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
You listed one of the downsides of not using remote write. Have you actually experienced this?
No, I've not tried the remote write. I've tried this.
I meant you said the remote write approach would not have the risk of losing data. So have you experienced with the uploader approach that you are actually losing data in cases where it would have been useful?
I don't think so. It's more a theoretical thing that could occur, but our cloud infrastructure for these CI runs is very reliable. And if truly the physical host were to die, then I'm losing the whole run, and I just do a new run. Like we do so many every day, it wouldn't really matter. So not really. I mean, it's theoretical more than real.
For what it's worth, we basically do the same thing.
Good. You should publish a blog post about it.
It's even more simple. We literally take it, copy the Prometheus database underneath the running Prometheus and upload it to.
Well, I thought Thanos was pretty nice for this. At the end of the run, call the snapshot API, upload that thing, and I didn't need to. You actually understand the format. I didn't. I wanted a tool that encapsulates everything for me, and Thanos just seemed to do the job.
We don't even use Thanos. We literally run Prometheus systems when we want to look at it.
Okay. You just spin up an ephemeral Prometheus when you look at it. Well, this is better, I think.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Rich.